Okay. GM, how's it going?
How's the daughter?
Pretty good. I'm hanging out in the verse right now. Gonna probably walk over to my parcel with purple grass on it.
I'm gonna kick Gotchi. Let's see. Is it? Do I just kick? Is that gonna kick him off the voice chat? I don't want to kick him from the server.
I was able to mute him. I muted him.
No, it's muted for you.
Oh, I see.
He's good. He's good. He's good. Yeah. So.
I've been busy actually. Now that we don't have to kill bots all the time, I've been able to play the game a little bit more, and I'm excited to announce I finally have. And 29.9 degrees west. I don't know if that helps anyone. But I wonder who can find me first. I'm not logged in as Coder Dan, by the way. I'm logged in as another borrowed Gotchi.
17 degrees south and how many degrees west?
29.9 degrees west. And the exact position is, I'll just copy it down here. It's probably easier. So I'm gonna be spending this hangout chilling. Got some grass to put down. Need to get my oh, someone found me. Zico, is that you? Shouldn't have given the exact coordinates. So I got a lot of grass to put down. You guys pick up the spillover. I'm gonna be busy putting down my lawn. If you want to get the exact coordinates, you can do F3, or if you're on a Mac, do function F3. That will open up the debug console, and you can get your positioning information in there. It'll also tell you how many Alchemica are on the map, how many players are online, a couple different interesting information. So spillover should be going live in just a few minutes here. I think we got it timed. It's gonna automatically just start dropping at some point.
We got 600 players online right now.
Nice.
What do you think about mowing lawns for Keck?
Oh, I just saw Moon. What's up, Moon? No, that's not Moon. Who is that? Looks like Moon. It's like a Moon impersonator. Foolish. What's up? Mowing lawns for Keck. Yeah, if we could figure out how to have like a time aspect of the installations, that'd be pretty neat. Or like the tiles that are laid down. Because currently we don't really know what time they were put down. That'd be something we'd have to add, but that would be pretty cool.
I always thought, like these installations and everything we're building, over time, are they going to break down? Like, is that something that's going to be implemented one day where, our structures actually degrade and we have to actually spend, maybe some Alchemica or hire somebody with a skill set to maybe fix them? Or is there anything like that we could, not that we need it, but it's just interesting to think about stuff like that. I know other games have, they implement this mechanic, right?
Will the grass grow?
Right. That's kind of, yeah. We had a discussion about that in the Dow a while back, and the reservoirs and the harvesters are a bit difficult because we would have to do all that on chain. But I definitely think we could experiment and have some fun with that.
Are all the installations pretty much going to be on chain for the most part?
Yeah, this whole game is the idea of the Gotchiverse is that all of the installations and their tiles and everything are all on chain. So like they're basically there forever. Even if our servers go down, theoretically we could have like a version of the game that's visible. You might necessarily not be able to play it exactly, but you could recreate it using all the assets.
That's pretty cool. Dan, I notice your neighbor has a godlike campfire and godlike lava lamp.
Yeah, it's pretty base neighbor, huh?
Yeah, pretty based. Are you purple pilled? Is that your gotchi?
Right now I'm playing as grinder, just a rental gotchi, because this parcel is in my hardware wallet. Because we don't have a way yet on the contract side to allow people to basically hold assets, like hold the parcel in their hardware wallet and then build with like a hot wallet. So we don't have that functionality yet. I gotta lay all this grass with my hardware wallet.
Yeah, see, I
Yeah,
got the same deal. I probably, on District 420 last night, I probably punched my hard wallet like 200 times because
Yeah.
I had to punch it in every single time, and yeah, it's tedious.
yeah.
There's a lot of things we can make better, like allowing someone to put all the grass down at one time, or doing delegating to a hot wallet. Definitely lots of room for improvement.
Yeah, being able to what's it called? Access like lands and build for other people. That's going to be a huge business in the Gotchiverse. I can't wait till that like functionality actually comes on.
Yeah, I'm curious to know if we'll see like builders guilds, like just a whole guild that's formed around this aspect of what you're saying, like renting out or lending out your lands for people to come in and build on them for you, for whatever reason, maybe you don't have time, and get your structures upgraded by other people, and maybe pay them a small fee. Like I think that's going to be a big deal for sure.
So, Coder Dan, are you mixing between purple grass and the cyan grass, or are you just like doing all purple grass for your parcel right now?
Well, we don't have cyan grass yet, so when we eventually do get it, I'll probably mix and match a little bit more. But for now, I'm just gonna put purple down, trying to get the spacing right here.
What's
Yeah,
what's
that should be
what's
good.
your vision for this purple grass? Are you thinking, you're gonna cover the whole parcel in purple grass, or are you doing like one side? Like, what's your
Probably gonna I'm gonna
aesthetic you're
cover
going
it, and
for?
then I might pull out some like space to make some letters. That's what I'm kind of thinking. I don't have a plan yet. I just want to cover it in grass first.
Yeah, that's
Hef-
pretty cool.
Hefe and Zombie Shepherd, without giving away too much information from our call last night, we're gonna have to make moves quick before Coder Dan takes
Yep. I thought the same thing.
What's that?
messing us up.
I have a neighbor over to the northwest a little bit. He's got his parcel decked out. I forget who that is, but I've seen their parcel before. I'm gonna go over there and just check it out real quick. He's got his whole parcel surrounded by like GMs and lava lamps. Anyone know who that is? Trying to get to know my neighbors here.
You got some pretty dope neighbors, I have to say.
Is this Portal Mage territory?
I believe so.
Oh, wrong
Just
way.
on the edge of it.
Nice.
Actually, we were talking about it on the Gotchi space last week about like how awesome it would be if we could have like direct text communication with other Gotchis. So like we can go and find out who owns that parcel. Hey, is this your parcel? Like, are you willing to sell it? That kind of stuff. And social function.
Yeah, we have a lot of that that we're working on getting planned. Yeah, so basically right now the text is kind of boring because you can't like just you have to talk in the bubble chat. It's kind of you have to like go into the chat menu. But we are going to be adding in the like a chat bubble feature that kind of pops up on top of your your head.
Nice. Yeah. Harambe also said someone had a mailbox idea. That would be pretty awesome also.
We are about 2 minutes away from spillover, guys. Should be dropping starting at 2:10. So 2 minutes from now, I believe, is the first spillover event.
I'm doing for my parcel. I'm doing gold tiles at both ends of it because I wasn't able to mint 32 of them. So I said, okay, well, I'll do gold tiles on the ends, and then no future. You got a good idea with probably using the cayenne grass and making some kind of like a corridor. I feel like that's gonna be really cool to do with the grass. As we get more different types of grass, gonna mix it up for sure.
Yeah, the grass presents this awesome opportunity for us. We were talking about this yesterday on District 420. Like, if you have a spacious parcel, now that you can zoom out like further, you can see with your Gotchi almost an entire spacious parcel. I'm looking at it now. Yeah, almost a full spacious parcel. So with the grass, if you have a big enough spacious, you could theoretically make a little obstacle course or like little racetrack and then host people on your parcel to do little gotchi races because we can now zoom out far enough to see a whole track if you made one out of the grass. So cool little ideas like that hopefully will start to blossom out of the community.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really cool to make like games on your parcel aside from, like we talk about mini games all the time, but like we've already come up with a game of Gotchi Tag in the Gotchiverse. So it's going to be interesting to see these games like pop up in the actual Gotchiverse too.
Yeah, like user created games, player created games is going to be pretty neat. I think what we're really looking forward to is like people start making creations in the game that aren't like created by us. Uh-oh, Alchemica just spawning. I see Moon on his damn boat. What's up, Moon?
I'm here on your parcel as well as Aavegotchi Pacific chapter. I'm the Daigotchi.
Oh, one thing we need to fix is the zoom out. I don't know. I feel like when you zoom out, I feel like the Gotchi should get bigger, but it will like move slower, but it will look bigger. And also the name needs to be much bigger.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't see who you're talking to when you're super zoomed out. But we like to zoom out because you can see a lot more of the map and you can see people's parcels and stuff. It's a little bit tricky.
That seems to be the play style right now, but I feel like you might want to be zoomed in for some things too.
Yeah, like combat is a kind of a completely different scenario. For combat, you would think you'd want to be zoomed in more so you can kind of see what your opponent's doing. But at the same time, it is nice to zoom out and see the bigger picture.
I mean, I know in the grid, it's going to be interesting because you'll probably want to be zoomed out while you're cruising around to detect any, like, ambushes or whatever. But probably with combat, to coordinate, if you have a group of gotchis fighting, you might want to be zoomed in for that. So I feel like people are going to have to use zoom as like another part of their like skill with PvP.
Yeah. Yeah, someone was just saying that there was a guy who impersonated me here in the chat. Obviously, I will never do OTC deals with anyone. Just know that. I don't do OTC with anyone. So if someone's coming to me saying they're me and they're coming to you saying they're me, they want to do OTC with you, it's definitely not me.
I wish we could see the Gotchi's eyes a little better. You know what I mean? It's hard to tell now with the different rarities of eyes. I guess that's been an ongoing discussion too in the Dow in terms of like how these eyes are going to be represented in the Gotchiverse.
So yeah, that's definitely something to think about. Just a note on the grid / background here. We did have that update a couple days ago where everything was looking really clean and the grid wasn't as kind of zoomy as it is now. But there was a bug with that where different monitors kind of had a different aspect ratio, and so some people were able to zoom out much farther than others. Like on my monitor, I was not able to zoom out as far as someone with like a bigger monitor, and so it was kind of unfair. So we put it back to what it was before, and then this latest version, I believe everyone has the same aspect ratio, and it's also more zoomed out, but there are still we're working on the grid lines, making them like less kind of not really pixelated, but it's called anti-aliasing. We're working on that. So that's why we had to put it back to the old one, because it was pretty bugged. But we will keep working and tweaking with the different zoom to get it to the kind of a perfect setting.
Yeah, the scaling I'd imagine is pretty tricky, you know, with like how vast the Gotchiverse is too. I thought it was gonna be smaller. Like it's huge. It's gonna take me forever to get across. I'll probably be using that Gotchi bus a lot, the transit system.
Yeah, I want to say I tried to go around the perimeter of the Gotchiverse, and I think after an hour, I had only done maybe like halfway around the clock.
Oh wow.
That's about right. Yeah, I think it takes about an hour to get all the way across, just left to right.
Damn, look at this parcel. This guy has, like you said, GM signs all the way around, and then he has it looks like maybe campfires or no, globes. He's a whole bunch of common items all the way around.
Is that my neighbor?
That's got to be first Aavegotchi he was buying then. What's up, everyone?
Hey.
GM.
Yeah, is it walled in? That's him.
GM.
Well, yeah, and then
GM.
the decorations actually have collision too, so it's like you can't even get into his parcel right now.
You actually can. You just gotta do a little bit of mouse work or keyboard work.
Gotcha.
Wiggle.
Are you guys on the parcel across from mine?
Man, this drop is great. I already got 20 Alchemica.
It was a little sparse in my area, but yeah, it's been pretty good. I got 7.
Yeah, I'm somewhere E1 inside of the inner wall, like near my big spacious, but there's no other gotchis here, so I'm just like walking around collecting whatever I can find.
FA, if you see me, I'm over on the left side. I'm gonna jump into this guy's parcel.
Oh, okay. Here, let me just head. I'm across the street now. Let me just get over there.
So I did have an idea that. Oh, go ahead, Dan.
I was gonna say this one I'm on right now is also mine. I got one on both sides.
Oh, nice.
So I had an idea that I think would be pretty interesting if someone could run with it. But essentially, you know, we've been talking about vanity wearables forever. There's another game out there called Rust, and they basically do a weekly drop of different custom skins. So I was thinking, you know, at first I was like, maybe we should make custom skins for current wearables. But then I thought, what if we had a separate tab for like your cosmetic wearables, and then, you know, you have your gameplay wearables, so you could like go into your lodge or parcel, or maybe just out of the game if you don't have all that. You know, you could switch to your like flexing wearables and stuff, and I think it would open the door for community submissions. So like how it works on there is essentially you could go test out community submissions, then you could put a like up arrow if you like the equipment, the skin they made, and then basically the game devs would review it and accept certain submissions. So I would think like, we could do voting based on some type of voting power, maybe like a gotchi as a vote or something like that. And essentially, people could submit these custom wearables. There'd be a separate tab for slots, and then this would go to the wearable task force. They would review it, make any necessary changes. And then the third step would be sending it to Pixelcraft for final review. At every step, they could go back and say, hey, this is like not right or not implementable. But I do think it'd be a way for artists to contribute and maybe get a small percentage of sales and burn a lot of Alchemica or whatever we decide to sell it for. Just food for thought.
So these would be basically, they wouldn't have BRS. They would
No.
just be like, yeah, aesthetics.
Yeah, and so like I was thinking it might be a pretty tough like issue if you have like wearables on top of wearables, but what if you have the separate tab that you switch to that's like your outfit for social events instead of wearing a coat over all your current wearables, because that could get kind of messy.
Question with crafting, right? The installations, are those ERC 1155s?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, everything is 1155.
So technically, if you wanted to, right, if we had like a special gotchi event one day and in the crafting table, we could add like a special wearable that is like just purely cosmetic. That's like, like I was there at this Pixel Craft event shirt that your gotchi can rock. It's almost like a badge or like a POAP. Would that be possible down the line?
Yeah, I'd have to look at the contract a little bit because I know there is some stuff related to BRS based on the rarity of it. But I definitely think we could probably extend the current contract a little bit and make it so you could have wearables that don't have a BRS bonus. I don't think that would be too difficult.
Yeah, I really feel like we need to come up with a lot of token sinks. Hit it from every angle at once, I guess. And I do feel like there's a lot of people who enjoy the land decorations, and there would be a whole different subset of people who want some clothes to flex in at all the social events, because I really see people setting up businesses and dApps and services on their land, especially when more foot traffic and investors come in, especially from Ethereum. If we start targeting the Ethereum audience a bit more once more game dev comes along, I think we'll have a lot of business.
Just related to that, I've been thinking about that a lot. Like, the gotchis are capped currently at like 25,000. Not everyone's going to be able to own a gotchi. So I've been thinking about there's probably like a way to have non-gotchi owners come in and like probably not be able to pick up Alchemica, but they could like just be in the space and like use the SDKs and use all the different tools that we are going to have in the Gotchiverse without having to actually own an Aavegotchi. I'm curious what you guys think of that.
It reminds me of World Wide Web. I was just talking to a friend about that the other day, and I think it's going to be necessary. You just have to probably set parameters to make sure some crazy poop emoji NFT doesn't get in the game, or something, like some quality projects to integrate with, I guess.
This also reminds me of like the use case for potential like baby gotchis, like this little like temporary gotchi that you get that you can enter the Gotchiverse with, that you can interact with, but maybe not necessarily collect Alchemica, or maybe you make it a tiered level where you get a higher level baby gotchi that you have to like pay some kind of fee at the beginning, and then you can pick up like Alchemica that way.
It is interesting. I wonder the overall like economic impact of something like that. It'd probably take a lot of planning to map it out, right?
Like a lot of the Ethereum community, or I was thinking like from a DAO point of view, what if we could be a platform where, we're going to be having our own DAO Square with DAO integrations that we're working on. But it'd be cool if like other DAOs could also use the Gotchiverse for their kind of congregation, and they could have their own like snapshot set up. So to do that, we would obviously need a lot of access for a lot of different people, which wouldn't really be possible. A lot of them are probably not willing to pay money to like get an NFT and come in. But the conversion rate will probably be fairly high. They'd be like, damn, I see all these Aavegotchis running around picking up Alchemica or like harvesting, farming. I want to do that too.
Yeah, and the
Some sort of, like-
decor. I was just saying, in the decorations, you know, like you might buy land to advertise, you know, your DAO or your business, but you know, if you don't actually invest a little more, what's your like
Yeah.
what's the eye candy, you know? Like you're gonna see your neighbor all decked out. People are gonna go see him before they see your like parcel with just an altar on it, you know?
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
I think in general it's a good idea though. I think that if you open it up to communities and we're able to onboard, you know, whitelist certain NFT projects, you can even open it up to opportunities of like venue rentals. You know, you'll have cross pollination of people who will say, "Hey, listen, you don't have to pay nothing. I got a spot for you guys, but we want y'all to come host your next meeting in here."
For the guys who have played web, like what kind of features do they have in their game right now? Do they have like, can you pick up tokens like we have, or is it? Because I imagine that'd be kind of hard, since they're more on Ethereum than Polygon, right?
I don't think you can pick up any tokens, but they do have like quests you can do to win like NFT items that you can use, you know, in World Wide Web. And then they also have things like the tavern, kind of like social events, you know.
Yeah, there's pickups. There's in-game pickups, but yeah, there's no real like ERC20 money tokens or anything yet.
Also, Mike Callian, we're gonna have to move quicker on our plans because Coder
I'm
Dan.
noticing. I know, it's the first thing I heard as soon as I got here. I said, damn it, here we go again.
It's gonna take me a while, guys. You got plenty of time.
A little
it's
more
good.
Alchemica, guys.
I'm gonna try hard. We're gonna make it happen today if we can here.
I like it.
I got nothing to do today, so I'll study adventure and we'll move.
I do think
first DAOs in the Gotchiverse, I think, so far. I know other guilds have their stuff, but you know, it just feels cool.
I do think that anybody with connections or, you know, any pull in any community on Ethereum should definitely tell their friends, because I mean, not to show other people, but I know of like some projects that sold like 70 million plus in land, and they seem like a lot of the concepts are very similar to us, and they're a little behind the curve. So I mean, there is a market out there. It's just we have to capture the attention of that audience.
But we were talking a little bit about this with the DFK community on Harmony. DeFi Kingdoms on Harmony is a really good, I think, project target. They're not like larger than us in a large way. They're similar, but they're behind the ball in terms of dev work, and they're having some really challenging struggles internally as a project. And so I think that there's a lot of broken hearts over there right now.
Yeah, hearts and minds.
Also, don't you think that it would be
Also, Cool Cats are going to be doing in real life stuff at NFT, so I'm going to be chilling my ass off.
Nice.
Do you guys think that bringing in the wrong community might hurt Aavegotchi in the same respect?
Honestly, I don't think so. I think we're pretty not strict, it's not the right word, but I think we're pretty compelling with our game culture. Yeah, and I think that we're pretty good about like onboarding folks. Plus, even like, I mean, what would you call the extractor community that we're killing spillover with and whatnot? Like, was that a negative element necessarily too? I don't think we're going to have the ability to necessarily choose who gets to come through the doors when we start opening doors.
That makes sense.
I mean, when I joined, you know, I was used to other communities, and what stood out about Aavegotchi was that people, A, were helpful and friendly, and B, they didn't really put up with the when mooners and, you know, rocket ship emojis. It was all about building, making a good game, you know, helping other people learn. So I think that's what really sets us apart, and that's why I stayed here. Because a lot of other communities, it's just like guys around you telling you to buy the token, but they're really going to dump on you as soon as you buy.
Yeah. What do you guys think about, just a second ago, you said like having the door open, and just my feeling is that at this stage where it is still so early, we want to like kind of cultivate our vibe a little bit more, make sure that we're kind of having like one direction to go. Obviously we can continue with like the open model that we have right now, but having some more of a, we've talked about a little bit, the invite or like the cartridge model where players kind of get accepted by a guild or by a patron or something who brings them into the game, and they become kind of a known player in the space rather than just some rando that joined from who knows where.
Well, I mean, yeah, I got a little thought behind that. I mean, what's the point of everything we're doing here, right? We're preparing for this like great battle that's going to happen. And like what level of coordination is going to be required for like this great battle? I think there's going to be a lot of coordination needed. Probably a lot of that's going to be centered around guilds, so we should kind of maybe keep that in mind as well. Because if that great battle is coming up, how many players in the Gotchiverse's like interests are going to be aligned with defending the great portal so that so we all don't get wrecked? Like we all want to be able to defend that and maybe like minimize our losses, right? Because there are going to be some probably losses when these liquidators do invade. I feel like that has to be a big part of whatever we're going to decide to do now. Because if we don't have that coordination later down the line, we have a lot of fragmented players coming in. Maybe they're not really associated with any groups in the Gotchiverse. I think the majority of players are probably going to get wrecked.
And it's going to be stale if you don't have an interesting dynamic for guild,
Yeah.
competition and, working together. Like I could definitely see this going to, I recruit a lot of good players who play other games, and they're interested in the gaming aspect when that develops. And I think PvP coordination is going to be huge. You're going to have all these different types of stats gotchis. I could see it going down the path of like in the light paper, I don't know if anybody noticed, it mentions adventures, which seem similar to quest or something, or maybe that's separate. But I could see us having dungeons that take like 30 people to clear out or something. That'd be really cool. Like spend a lot of time, but maybe get some good drops out of it.
Dan, I'm wondering what would be your response to why, like, what is the benefit of managing our entry gate?
Right. Well, one, obviously the botters would have a much harder time of like duplicating themselves, because right now whenever we catch a bot, they just send their funds back to their another wallet and they rejoin. So that would be one huge benefit, would just be way less micromanagement of like figuring out who's a bot and who's not. It would be much easier and much less like whack-a-mole than it is currently. The more interesting from like a culture perspective, it's like we're in such an early phase here of the game. I mean, it doesn't really feel like that necessarily, but we are, because this is like super early alpha version. It just seems like we almost might be able to attract more people and more like quality players, people who actually are more potentially interested in like investing in the assets than just playing the current like spillover game, by having like this sense of being more exclusive with who we let in. It's like the old bar analogy. Like a bar that lets anyone in is like the best clubs in the world don't just let anyone into them. Like you have to pass the dress code or be invited, and it gives this sort of exclusivity that makes them more attractive to people.
Yeah, I agree completely. I mean, when you have this exclusiveness, you're gonna want in the party. It inspires a sense of FOMO. Whereas if you just get a free pass in without any type of effort, then you could saturate the community with people who aren't interested in the long term too.
Yeah, I agree with that. It does attract that long-term mindset type of person that's going to want to know why we're gating people, and that alone might want them, make them look into it a little bit more to see if this is something that they want to be a part of, and then they'll want to be a part of that if that interests them, rather than just having
cool.
everybody.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's also it's cool. Like if I'm inviting you, it's like a different feeling than just saying, hey, you should like come and play this game. You can just get a gotchi for 0.1 ghosts. It's really easy. compared to like, hey, I have like this invite. I'm gonna like, do you think you want to play? If so, I'll give you my invite. Once it's gone, I can't get it back. So it becomes like this investment of that invite that you hope you want to have a good conversion with whoever you give it to.
I'm curious then, Anthony, what's your opinion here on applying the bankless DAO free pass model to this mechanism?
Actually, it's funny you mentioned that because I was thinking, so like with Bankless DAO, you have to hold 35K bank to be a level 1 contributor. So you can get a guest pass and start earning bank by, kind of proving that you can provide value or whatever. But so you let anybody in, but there's also that like level of you have to actually know people and get work and get doing things, or you're not going to make it to level 1. Yeah.
And the guest pass operates on a 2-week structure, and so you don't just get one. Like you can't just click and redeem one yourself. You got to show up and ask an existing member to please sponsor you and issue your guest pass, and then you get 2 weeks. And at the end of that, you can ask for another one, and that can go on perpetually, or you can do the tools required to get your own credit.
That's pretty much like, that's very similar to the cartridge model that I've been thinking about a lot here. But the difference is you're in a game versus like Bankless is like an investment club.
It's like it's a working group DAO is what I'd call it.
Yeah,
It's more
it's
about
a
bounties.
media and culture DAO.
What
Is
is
who GM
35,000 bank? What is that?
Right now, 350.
Right now it's
350
$350.
Okay.
350.
Alpha, by the way.
That's true, because when I
Yeah.
got in, it was about $3,500.
Oh,
JM are on JM.
GM.
GM.
What's up, Godfather? So Dan, following on that cartridge model, if it kind of modeled in terms of the mechanics of the guest pass and timelines and whatnot, who are the distributors in your mind? Do you see you like recognizing guilds of value and providing each guild with a bucket to manage the distribution, or do you think you guys are going to try to also manage distribution?
So yeah, I want to have it as decentralized as possible. Basically, a system that we can set up and then let it like grow organically. So how I would like to do it probably would just be to take a snapshot of all the Gotchi owners, the realm owners, make sure everyone is set there. And there'd probably be kind of 2 different types of cartridges. You'd have like the patron cartridge, which is a cartridge that would be like given to the Gotchi owners, the super OGs. And then every period, it could be a month, maybe a week or whatever, that patron cartridge would allow you to mint a player cartridge that you could then give to someone else. And that I have a whole doc on this, but I'm going to be doing more thinking on it. But the basic idea is that you would give this cartridge to that person, and if that person crafts stuff in the game, like they play the game, they earn Alchemica, they also craft stuff with it. You as the patron could earn a little portion of the crafting that they're doing. So that would be one thing. And every time they craft something, their the time duration, basically their game duration, would be extended a little bit. So because it's player cartridge, like the bankless thing, it wouldn't be unlimited. It would be a timed thing. So you could play, and then if you earn enough Alchemica to craft something, it would increase your playtime so you can keep playing. And the patron, every time someone crafts something that the patron has given them an invitation for, the patron himself, their cartridge would kind of start leveling up. So over time, as their players they invited craft more, the patron himself would level up and be able to mint more and more player cartridges. Because the issue we have right now, we don't want to punish people directly for inviting botters into the game. So we need a way to build it into the system that like inviting a botter is going to lead to a negative outcome for you. So if you invite a botter, they get banned, then you've basically wasted your cartridge for that month. Like you won't be able to level up faster than someone who didn't invite a botter.
Sounds awesome. I really like the depth of that.
Have you looked at the Bright ID social graph at all?
Yeah, I've looked at all the different like
Yeah.
blockchain ID things, and I don't
This is
know.
interesting. This is similar in their web model because it uses like your downstream referrals to kind of manage your active reputation as well.
Yeah, but they have like you have to do the party, and you gotta join.
That's like the V1. Their V2 is really interesting. It's like an AI social net on the background. It's not fully public yet. They're tweaking it, but it's intriguing because it has that same kind of a model where you, as an individual, get penalized if you endorse bad talent.
I like that idea, Dan. And one other thing, does anyone remember Clubhouse going on the FOMO thing? People were chatting about 5-10 minutes ago. Clubhouse, you had to have an invite, and this was like a year or two ago, whenever it was hot for it. And it lasted a few minutes or a few weeks or whatever. Everyone wanted on because they couldn't get in. So that FOMO thing is definitely real.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's kind of human nature that we want to get into things that we can't. So having some sort of mechanism that makes it more exclusive, I think it's going to help us in the short and long term. Help us deal with bots, while also giving this like vibe to the Gotchiverse that doesn't currently exist. There's just this different feeling if someone's like, "Hey man, I got an invitation. Do you want this? Like I only have 3 of them." That's like what Clubhouse was. People were like hoarding their invitations because it was a super exclusive thing, and you didn't get
like
them easily.
Foundation.
Definitely makes them more important.
It's like I like to compare it to tickets to like a football game. Like if I got free tickets to a football game and I can't make it on a Sunday night, I might not go because there's no real loss to me. But if I paid for those tickets, I might just bite the bullet and just go anyway. Just because I know I invested something into them. So maybe investing interest into the ticket and also getting that opportunity might make people really not want to waste that moment and actually use that.
Yeah, also like, comparing it to football, when you're a season ticket holder, if you don't make it to every game, you've got all your friends that you're like, "Hey, I'm not going this weekend," and you give it to your favorite people.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I like the idea. Someone in the chat said if we're going to be implementing 2 cartridges, we could have like an 8-bit cartridge and a 16-bit cartridge. Maybe the 16-bit cartridges mint all the 8-bit ones. I don't know. That'd be kind of a cool way to do it.
Now the cartridge is tied to the account, right? Not to the Gotchi themselves. So you don't have multiple cartridges for each Gotchi. You just have 1 cartridge per wallet.
Yeah, pretty much. So there's a little difficulty with them being like this idea of soulbound or non-transferable. So if you're a Gotchi owner and you sell your Gotchi to a new participant in the ecosystem that doesn't have a cartridge, they technically, just even though they have the Gotchi, we'd have to make a decision like, does having a Gotchi mean you can play, but you just don't have the patron cartridge? That could be one. There's probably needs to be a way to acquire a patron cartridge. Maybe by buying it'd be pretty
Maybe
expensive.
a time frame or something, a time frame of actual play, and
Well, see, what I want to do is I want to get everything on chain, so there doesn't have to be any micromanagement of it. So if we include actual time in the Gotchiverse, then you can't do that on chain. But crafting is on chain, so I like crafting as a model because it's easy to set up a system that can handle all of that automatically.
What asset would you use to craft that?
The Alchemica, most likely. So the crafting would, every time you craft with Alchemica, it would increase your cartridge score, and that would like help as a patron, it would level your cartridge up. You'd be able to invite more people, and as a player, it would increase your play time. So you would eventually like get a very long play time if you crafted enough, and you would also be sending a little bit of your crafting amount back to your patron.
I think it's cool. Choina makes a good point as well. Maybe the patron gets a console, and then that can mint the player cartridges.
Can the cartridge be passed from the person you gave it to another player?
No, it would be non-transferable. You as the patron can transfer it once, but once it's there, can't be transferred anymore. Looks like the Alchemica spillover is happening, but it's a bit slower. We're thinking it's because there's so many chunks that are being spawned. So we're gonna do a little manual reboot here and try to get it spawning faster because it's definitely not spawning fast enough. Give us a second.
Just make
here,
them
guys.
all solid one Alchemicas. Be easier.
Yeah.
All Keck.
Keck and Alpha. Gotta have my Alpha. A little FUD. Gotta have my green.
I'll take some of that in District 6. I've been spending the last 30 minutes trying to exit District 1, figure out where the actual road out was, and I finally got there. So District 6, please.
Kind of like that first day when you were like the first person to like channel and then have all your Alchemica just spill over right next to your property.
Yeah, I mean, me and Hefe were talking about it like yesterday because spillover is not happening currently. It kind of behooves you to upgrade your altars, especially at these cheap Alchemica prices, so that you can get more of that instead of it just going nowhere, or I guess going to the Hangout.
Yeah, I'm loving the Alchemica prices right now. I mean, there's a lot of fear in the markets. There was, some mechanics with people like, dumping the Alchemica, but I still feel like the Alchemica prices have maybe, I feel comfortable buying at this level right now. So I'm gonna keep stocking up on Alchemica. And like Arbiculum said during one of the Gotchi spaces, people will be in awe when you tell them you only spend $20 to build out an altar, and at that time it might cost 10x that easily, if the prices eventually do start going back up.
Also, I want to say real quick because we talked about it yesterday also, but like Rip Winklevoss. I know that some of the godlike items were sold, so I don't think he'll make it into the top 5 of BRS anymore.
Yeah.
Great deals on the bazaar too. That was another thing we were talking about last night. Is mythicals. Man, if you really want some mythicals, I think definitely keep an eye out on the bazaar right now. It's pretty crazy.
We
Kinda
are in the
reminds
middle
me of when I
a
joined.
huge drop here across the board. So definitely fire sale everywhere. It's a good time to be loading up.
Yeah, I saw someone got a 2 reasonables for 100 ghost each, with level 3 altars and 4 golden tiles on them.
Nice.
And I think I don't know if he placed it after, but I saw in the picture one had the golden altar. So if it came with that, he made a huge profit. I'm not sure though.
I know someone picked up a spirit sword the other night for 2,000 ghost or 2,100 ghost. I thought that was a great deal.
Sadly, I think that was from a scammer, so everybody be careful. Someone scammed a Citadel set by making a fake Goobs account.
Since we're talking about all this, do you guys think that having a specific like raffle just for drop tickets because of the delay in the land auction again to kind of reboot the worth of those drop tickets maybe?
I actually had this thought yesterday, like what could we do some other type of raffle to help out people who've been holding tickets all this time?
Yeah, I think just a drop ticket itself raffle would be nice. You could enter them in, to win multiple different maybe, specific things, and you could, drop your drop tickets in whatever thing you want to win or however you guys do it.
What if you do a drop ticket raffle for some real life Aavegotchi merch at NFT NYC, and people can dump their
There we
drop
go.
tickets into a pool to win probably like an Aavegotchi hat or a shirt or something? That'd be kind of cool.
I
Do
would
a
love
live,
that.
do a live drawing, hosted by No Future at NFT NYC. Pull it out on the rooftop, and we find out what people win. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Hey, real prizes cost real money.
Yeah. Zbot has been dropping pictures of like some of the stuff he has in today, and I will say it looks amazing. Like the stuff that he's getting delivered for NFT NYC. So I'm definitely going to be bringing back as much stuff as possible. It's gonna be dope.
I'll give you some ghosts for some of it, dude. I can't make it this year. Give me a hat or a
Yeah,
hoodie. Hoodie
there.
would be good.
The hat was fire. I've saw like he was wearing a hat. I don't know if he's, but the hat looked fire.
Definitely do Aavegotchi t-shirts with like specific Coder Dan t-shirt, you know what I mean? Golden Cross t-shirt. I think that would be dope. I'd buy some of those.
I would
Second.
definitely buy a Coder Dan t-shirt. That'd be cool as hell.
I want the derivative version of that, the Cider Dan t-shirt. Just all
We could
mixed
do
up
we could
and
do
screwed up.
a multi Dan release, you know.
Yeah, like the golden tiles, Coder Dan 1, Coder Dan 2.
Yeah, you do that with the like a saddle chair t-shirt, and it says "Just Ship."
I'd like that, huh?
Coder Dan themed saddle chair.
Hey, you could actually, I mean, bigger picture, start releasing your own saddle chair brand with Aavegotchi on it.
I'd buy one of those, 100%.
We'll start with hats first.
How much does this go for, Dan? The saddle chairs.
The one I got here was like, it's in China. It was like made super cheap. It was like $80 probably, 80, 90. But if you buy it from the company that makes them, like they're $800, I think.
Oh, man.
There's a pretty
Maybe
big
you should
markup on
consider
it.
it.
Yeah.
I don't know how much
Raptors
dev
look
time that'll
great.
take, but yeah, that'd be cool.
Your merch will be awesome. Especially like I linked Moon up with the guy from Uniquely, I think it is. And they had like at NFT NYC last year, they had really good looking merch, like Nike Air Force Ones that were customized for like Gutter Cat Gang type stuff. So I think I could see that integration very easily with the logo. Actually, last night we had Humble Bagger and T-Bird live stream to us during District 420 from their boat, and that was like dope as hell. Like they have their Aavegotchi sailboat essentially, and it just looked really cool.
That was a fun experience. I mean, it was unique, right? Like they were out on the water. I think it was Texas, right? That's where they're situated out of. Out on the water, and we were just like hanging out. It was kind of cool. I felt like I was there, to be honest.
Yeah, that first in real life Aavegotchi boat, pretty dope.
Yeah, I'd love to see the branding on there.
Yeah, I think eventually there'll be a Dow proposal. It'll go through GMI. We'll
Hefe, if you want to do a little spot check real quick and just let folks know, I just threw together the Seshbot event for our placeholder for the Gotchiverse Guild Summit that we've got coming up. I figure got a large group in here. We can start letting people know if they want to reach out to us. But they can now go to the GMI server and RSVP to the Seshbot invite and snatch the roll so we can start gathering interest.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, so we're doing a guild summit officially. We don't have a date yet, but we've opened up the GMI Discord to invites. So if you are, a guild manager, you actually run a guild. So we don't want players in there, to be honest. We want people who are actually managing the guild. Come into GMI, grab the role, and we're going to get people situated. And then once we have our roster of guilds, we're hoping early July we can actually do an official guild summit. But right now, do we have a chat channel open for people joining? Just to have a conversation?
Yep,
Okay.
got everything open right now. There's an invite right now sitting in the weekly Hangouts. So people can hop in there. There's a Seshbot event created in the GMI that you can RSVP to, and you'll snatch the Summiter role. And with that role, then you'll have access to the GMI Guild Summit channel so we can keep you up to date with how things are progressing.
Perfect. Yeah. So we're just going to start accumulating our roster, and then we'll build up to the actual main event there. And I'm super excited for that. I think it's something the community wants. So I'm glad, everybody at GMI is able to make that happen.
We're not doing the entry gate or anything for the first event as well, and there's no expectation for guild size. And so every guild lord, small, large, if you got just a few of you guys, but if you consider yourself a Gotchiverse guild, by all means, we want you at the table.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll echo that.
That's super cool.
I think coordination among guilds is going to be huge. It's going to be a huge advantage for not only players, but also like among us too, to set some standards and like agreements between guilds. Things are going to get a lot more complex, so we all got to be kind of communicating with each other somewhere. I think GMI is like a neutral party. We don't manage any scholars. We're not a guild per se. We just bunch of people who enjoy creating things and share that same passion of being a part of the Gotchiverse. Yeah, that was the announcement there. So definitely just reiterate, just definitely hang out in the GMI server, get that role if you're a guild manager, and if you're a content creator or anything else like that, you like to have some creative aspect, definitely join GMI. I mean, that's another reason to be in there. There's a lot of people working on cool stuff. I know John Gotchi was showing us his really cool AMM that he's built for swapping and adding liquidity, and it actually looks a lot nicer than QuickSwap's interface. So like I'm really looking forward to him getting that project together, because that's going to be tied to like an educational program around swapping and AMMs.
I do believe you're going to freaking love it, Dan.
Yeah.
He's got a really great angle
Really
at approaching to onboarding people. If you've never touched crypto at all, by the time you're done with his lesson plan, you'll know how to LP, you'll know how to manage yield, you'll know how to swap, check arbitrage, slippage. It's quite educational.
It's so
awesome.
sleek, and it doesn't it saves your pools, so you don't have to keep importing them too. That's one of the best parts.
So it's based on QuickSwap, but it's like another UI for it.
I think it looks like a blend between like sushi. Honestly, he's got some sushi elements in the Dex UI, but it's all home built. I'm quite impressed. It's more ambitious than I even fully understood when he first presented to us.
So it's not just front end for QuickSwap. It's like it's a DEX.
Absolutely. He's got it set up where you can create like multiple instances of AMMs side by side. So you could like check for arbitrage and understand how that looks, or see that there's different rates.
That's built on Aavegotchi?
He's building it as a standalone. He's doing this completely on smart contract from scratch, but he's theming it towards Aavegotchi material. So that way we can onboard and educate new users.
Very, very cool.
Nice.
When is our DEX coming out? Our GEX?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the roadmap, but yeah, we have a ton of things we're working on. So step by step.
With the way the ecosystem works, I mean, do you guys consider yourself it's more of like a network than it is a DAO? Than it is a game by itself, right?
There's different levels to the game, for sure.
But it can also be more than just a game, right? It can expand into like a multiverse of things. Is that correct?
Like, what I don't know quite what you're talking about. Like the Gotchiverse or the Aavegotchi protocol?
The Aavegotchi protocol and just what you can build on top of it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that have not been built yet. A lot of tools, a lot of
What I was asking is, do you think it can expand outside of even the realm you guys are thinking now?
Yeah.
I think that's up to you, Emperor. Yeah, what do you got in mind, brother? You got some big vision.
I know there's a bunch of
Aavegotchi
other
tax
games
attorneys.
that are being built on Aavegotchi right now. So it's really very, very good looking games. I mean,
I think,
Aavegotchi is at its core, it's an NFT gaming protocol.
but
There's a
more of
little
an
bit of DeFi
ecosystem,
thrown
right?
in.
I was
Yeah,
thinking more like an ecosystem that's not just, game. When you say game, when you say ecosystem, there's like the multi-DAO aspect. I mean, there's the GAX, there's all sorts of different things that are going to be built, and expand within itself. So I mean, that's kind of how I was looking at it.
So I got I got another one we can expand on in there too. I just dropped a link in the weekly chat. So this is for the GMI Notion. We're starting up a little program. This is another all call for anyone listening. We got this program we want to spin up called Unchained Artists. And so this is specifically targeting for individuals who are artistically or creatively talented, but have nothing to do with Web3 or crypto at this stage. So they don't have to even be Aavegotchi related or interested or anything. I want to use our resources and expertise from within the Aavegotchi community to help create onboarding tools for non-Web3 natives and use us as the starting point and the launch pad for showing people what good culture and good habits look like.
I mean, a specific artist could come in here and design one of these like tiles or different backgrounds, and it could be worth a lot of money.
Yeah, and that artist could have never had a Web3 wallet at all either. And so I want to be the grease in between there and facilitate to prove to them that they can take their hard work and turn it into dollars in the bank account. And once we can create that connection, then they'll be inspired and continue the path on their own is the hope.
Yeah, and I'll open it up to others too. It's just expansion. Users is the key, right?
Well, there's your extra Aavegotchi angle, right? The Aavegotchi internal art launchpad.
Yeah, and I mean, Yin says it all the time. Aavegotchis are just so memeable. They're very comparable to like Pepe's. It's a blank canvas of what you can do with it. And, I think that's a perfect ground for artists to experiment with an Aavegotchi, with whatever their style is, and come up with some really unique stuff. Even if they're not, like McCallum's saying, part of Web3. It's, I could think of at least one or two individuals in my life that are artistically inclined that could really make some really cool Aavegotchi art. So we just have to get them in here through maybe this Unchained Artist program.
yeah. I don't know if Golden Cross is on the call yet. Might be busy right now, but he has been working on something very, very interesting, art related, that we are going to be excited to share with you guys soon. It's going to be big,
Alpha
and we'll
alert.
help. Yep. Yeah, definitely be looking forward to that very soon. It's gonna be nice. Gonna help onboard a lot of artists.
Just make sure that you don't, make a Bored Ape Yacht Club mistake and like, graffiti over like a famous artist's work in New York. Shit like
Yeah.
that.
That was messed up.
Yeah, I'm stealing your squirrel pictures.
Sorry,
in the
what
future.
what happened? They stole someone else's artwork?
No, they paid like a marketing firm to go around and stencil the Bored Ape Yacht Club, the ape head, that skeleton head logo on the sidewalk. But one of their employees, from this marketing company, ended up like stenciling on top of like a famous like graffiti artist's tag, which is like a big no in New York. So like the artist like got pissed off on Instagram and posted something, and there was like some backlash against Yuga Labs.
Oh man, was it like Banksy or something?
No,
Dang.
like I don't even know if the guy is actually living anymore. He's just like an iconic graffiti artist from New York. Because like there's a lot of like people who go all city. The idea of like trying to tag everywhere, like all over New York City. So some of these guys are like from the '80s and like OG, super famous. So you don't touch their, you leave their art alone. But the NFT community had to go mess that up. So I'm sure that's not going to help, when people see all these NFT nerds in New York. But I'm still going to be flexing Gotcha Gang.
Wow. Yeah, I've never been to New York. I was saying hopefully can make it for this. It might be a little cutting it close now for NFT NYC, but at least for next year, I know I want to be there. So definitely want to check out New York and get a feel for that vibe, East Coast vibe.
Yeah, gotta keep it chill. Don't especially with graffiti and stuff. You gotta know your turf. Who here is going to the NFT NYC Gotchi Gang party?
I shall be there.
As will I.
Nice. I'm super jealous.
Me too. I got to go next year. We got to do this again.
You guys will need to get a bigger venue for next year. I think it's 80 people this year,
Mhm.
right? I think it's going to be more next year, to be honest.
We got to make the
Probably.
Vegas push too. We got to make a Vegas push.
It looks really cozy though. Like, looks nice. It looks like a really nice venue, and it's close too, from what I've heard.
You have pictures
Well-
to share? The venue?
Yeah, who's got some pics?
If you look up Loft on Fifth, that should pop up. It's like the fifth floor. There's like you can't look up the name of the venue. If you look up by the address, you can find it. But it's a nice venue. I actually like it because we talk about, Harambe mentioned my squirrel pictures. The building is in the Flatiron district. I think it's actually in the Flatiron building or right next to it. So that's like 1 block away from all my squirrels. So I'm gonna get to go by and visit them before I stop by the party.
It's been a long time. Honestly, though, if you don't wear wearables in real life to these parties, you're not getting any of the ladies. So keep that in mind. You got to make your own real life wearables.
Gotta have some drip.
If you don't have a frog with you on a leash, it's over.
I was going to wear Sergey's blue flannel shirt, actually.
Dude, he got a new one. What's that mean?
Yeah.
I think it's either means it's gonna moon or it's the end.
It means staking
They're
is
already
coming
sold
out,
out.
bro. That's what it means.
Oh, they sold out the new ones.
Yeah.
There's a new token.
Shadow fork.
Oh, man.
Hey, just a quick side note. I don't want this week's ambassador call to drop again. Can we kind of make a plan on that? Who wants to run that? Do we want to still have those calls here? Is that fair? And others can facilitate it in the meantime, transition? What's your idea on that, Coder?
Sorry, for what?
For the weekly ambassador lounge calls, I'll
yeah.
self-admit I'm not even a big ambassador in the terms of the program relations, but that is still something people are asking about. I don't think there's an official agenda yet.
Yeah. So there's a couple issues like with various time zones because it's like I'm cool to have a call. Like my Saturday morning is actually very open. During the week we have a lot of internal calls, especially we have team all over the world. So typically my mornings and evenings are typically like taken up with internal team calls. But Saturday morning would be great, although I know for a lot of people that would be like Friday night, which isn't ideal either. Thursday, yeah, like a Thursday night would be pretty okay for me probably too. And then so that handles like the US base, but then the Europe is a bit tough too, because that time is kind of middle of the well no, my evening would be okay probably. So if we could do like a late my evening, I could definitely make one of those like a call and have
Hey.
more office hours with you guys.
Quick question. Is that new artwork going to be tied to Alchemica as well? So I mean, like some of that artwork you could be able to buy inside the verse and kind of flex on. Is that all going to help support Alchemica as well?
We'll have full details on all that once the announcement's made.
I tried.
Yep.
GG, sir. GG.
Now Golden Cross will kill me if I leak too much, so this is his baby.
I try to talk roundabout things that get a little bit of extra leakage, you know.
What position does he sleep in?
All right, it looks
Sure,
like
Alpha.
I'll work with Humble Bagger, and we'll sort out the ambassador call and get some support on that regard.
Cool, yeah.
Free Beer's got a question for you, right? Is roadmap, are we still thinking that there's going to be an arena where gotchis will be able to PvP for Life Force?
Definitely PvP is definitely on the roadmap. That's we just for PvP, what we don't want to do is like introduce it in a very simplistic form and then have to iterate a lot on it. This is actually one of those features we'd rather just um, do the groundwork for it and then get it to a point where it's ready to be kind of tested with the community. But we don't want to launch a feature that's very not very well thought out. Or
could you test it in a district right now? Because I would love to be in there. Just whoever is down to go in there and fight. You do a district. Just one district opened up.
well,
You
it's not
walk
that
in
it's not
there.
even that. It's like we're not talking about hearts here. We want PvP actually needs to
Oh no, I
involve
was
all
actually
the
talking
weapons.
about the whole Gotchiverse, to where everything becomes activated, to where you guys can kind of see what's going on and maybe test out. But I'm not sure exactly if that would work. So
Well, it takes a ton of balancing. It takes a lot of work on server front end to be able to support all of that, and we have the team actively working on all those fronts. But that's why we put the Harvester release first and not the PvP release, because we need more time to go through the weapon balancing to make sure that the godlikes feel like godlikes, the commons feel like commons. There's compelling combat that's not overly simplistic and it's actually interesting. So that all that takes a little bit more time, which is kind of separate teams working on that at the same time. So we have the Harvester, which is being worked on and not taking up too much bandwidth of the other guys that are working on the PvP and all that side.
is that
So
something you guys think that you'll be able to kind of slowly work in to kind of get more gameplay going on and kind of use different pieces?
what I'm saying is we're going to launch the Harvester release first, and that will give us some time to continue doing the very, very necessary balancing work for a good version of PvP that's well thought out, rather than just releasing something because we want to get it out there quickly and then having to iterate and everyone constantly saying like, no, you need to keep this, and you need to keep that. We'd rather get it to where we're really happy with it and then release it to you guys and then do a feedback loop instead of having to put it out there in its most basic form and then iterate from there. It's just it would be an absolute mess because there's so much involved. So that's why we're not just like doing basic PvP with hearts all the time.
That makes
On
sense.
top of that, I mean, the Citadel is a safe space anyway.
Yeah, that makes sense. Perfect sense. I was just like, I enjoy, like murdering the other person and picking up their Alchemica. So, I mean, I don't know.
But yeah, there's when PvP is finally ready. I mean, it's gonna be awesome.
Emperor don't
Yeah,
care if his bots or anything. He's just ready to smash heads.
I wanted to go kill the bots, but you guys won't let me go kill the bots. And now they're all gone.
This man needs an outlet. Come on, Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
the problem
speaking
is
of-
if you keep PvP on, then the bots might outpace you on PvP skills eventually.
Yeah, you don't want to be
More
fighting
issues.
bots.
Yeah,
I was just
they're very
talking about
efficient.
turning it on just for me. And I
Oh,
could go
okay.
around executing. I would not pick up the Alchemica either. I would just go around executing bots and leave the Alchemica for the players.
Are you gonna be in the support chat too?
I want my Alchemica back.
It's like the Robin Hood of the Gotchiverse.
I wasn't
I
buying
would,
I was just running in circles around one Alchemica for an hour.
Yeah, I would definitely set up like 5 protocols that somebody would have to meet as I followed him around. I'd also have to get like not only my hearts turned on, but like an increase in speed for just my Gotchi, so I could like track him down real quick. So
Gotta have
Get
that
some,
quality of life.
Get
I
some
thought
move
about
speed
this.
items. You gotta get those move speed items. They're bullish.
Yeah, I thought about this though. I thought about going around and killing bots quite a bit. So
Coder Dan, when can we expect the next Gotchiverse Bible chapter, and maybe like what are some of the contents we could expect from that?
Yeah, so we have definitely some content on liquidators. We've been pontificating, and the grid as far as like what that world is going to be. I think I mean I think we're we basically got through book 1 of the Gotchiverse. We don't have anything on liquidators yet, but we are spending a lot of time filling out the chapters related to weapons. Like I was just saying, the weapons, I think we're in chapter 4, it was 3 or 4, we released information on all the different traits related to weapons, but we don't actually know the numbers. So those numbers will be published in the next chapter of the Gotchiverse. They'll be very specific.
Like specific in the sense of like like how many health points or hit points, or
Yeah.
like more detailed like a more detailed iteration of what we have, basically.
Oh yeah, like
Yeah.
literally how much AP a hit is going to cost, or how much damage the Black Portal Mage Axe is going to do. All that will be,
Love
I
it.
mean, we need to balance all that, otherwise it's going to be like completely a mess. So all that needs to be balanced with a consistent system, which is what we're currently working on.
Are the rarity of the items going to be correlated to their strength and power, or are they going to be these like maybe there might be these like one-off items that are common but they're actually highly coveted because of this one thing that they can do? Or like, is there going to be a strong correlation between the scarcity of the item and like what it can do?
Definitely the strength of the item will be highly correlated with its rarity. As far as special abilities, yeah, I think we discussed in the Bible chapter that godlikes will have like special auras that will affect them and all the people, the gotchis around them, or potentially liquidators. And as far as like special abilities, I definitely think there will be some special abilities also involved, like different, especially for weapons and like hand wearables. There'll be a lot of different abilities for those that will depend on the rarity level.
I have a question on a side note in my DMs from somebody who wants me to ask you. Let's see. He says, "Can you ask about possible utility for the decorations that were just released?" He wants some alpha.
They, as we've mentioned, we're minting them with like no utility guaranteed. So they're just for fun, just for looking cool. In the future, there may be something, but I'm not gonna say any more than that.
Yeah, I pretty much told him the same. Can't blame him for trying that,
Yeah.
It is the Hangout. Yeah, I told him what Humboldt said, go through the Dow too. Might be the
Mm.
way.
But they do have collisions right now. They're not full collisions. People can still kind of pass through them a little bit, but they are kind of fun to trap bots. If you ever see some bots, they'll very likely get like trapped in a parcel because of the decorations.
Gotta make some of those GM honeypots.
Yeah. Guys, I'm almost finished covering the edges of my parcel with grass. Feeling satisfied. I ran out of grass though. I need to get some more.
I'm sure
I never
there's a
run
few
out of
guys.
grass.
I'm sure there's a few guys in this Discord who could
Yeah,
help.
I got some good dosey for you.
Now I got to see. I should have some keck.
Yeah, it always sucks when you run out of gas and grass.
Need some
I'm
more
smoking
grass.
some grass right now.
What's up, China?
I wonder how much it's going to cost to get some grass out in NYC no future.
Prepare yourself, friend.
It's 200 FUD and 5 CAC.
Will you sell me some grass out there, guys, for some Alchemica?
Depends what color it is, right?
I can't believe all this Alchemica I'm picking up. It's pretty glorious.
I grabbed. I'm pausing now because I have to take apart some of the streaming equipment for for the trip, so it's like I'm just listening in. And but I see all the Alchemica, and I'm like, dang, I should be doing this.
For real, I already picked up 42.
I'm not very good at picking up, but I've already got 50.91. I'm stoked.
Damn.
Nice.
That's almost well, actually not quite one piece of grass, but 200 FUD. So you're on your way there.
What do you guys think of the rugs?
It's-
Anyone excited for the godlike rug?
It's interesting. No Future and I were talking about it on District 420 last night. I think the godlike and mythical rugs are still gonna retain their like mythical and godlike status because it's like an obscene amount of Alchemica to mint a godlike rug. Because it's like when you mint one piece of the rug, essentially you're minting half the rug. So you kind of, to get the whole aesthetic piece, you kind of have to mint two of them, right? The two halves kind of will come together, right?
Oh, right, because the sides.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're not meant to be cheap, but they're gonna be true godlike items.
And so it's really interesting. Kudos to you guys to making craftable items potentially have that same clout, because that's something I was worried about, was that the godlike items would lose their kind of status that they have right now, because godlike wearables are highly coveted. I was wondering if land items would have the same kind of status if they were craftable. And
that's what Dr. Wagamy said, right? He was talking about doing a rarity farm or something.
Yeah, but I mean, like, just like in a sense of how many land parcels there's going to be in the end. I'm saying maybe like 50, maybe even if 20 to 50 of these godlike rugs get minted, that's not a lot. That's like a really small amount compared to how many parcels there are.
One interesting thing I heard last night during the Gotchi Mafia poker event is that sorry, I had someone at my door. Is that the godlike rugs would not be released for a set amount of time? Like there'd be an unknown amount of time that you could mint them.
Yeah, we're gonna randomly rug you guys.
That's awesome.
Not gonna tell you when. It could be 1 minute. It could be 1 day. Could be a week.
That sounds freaking cool.
We're just gonna pull it.
That's fun.
I can't wait to get rugged.
Could you imagine anybody who mints one in that 1 minute rug? They got one.
Right.
Gives everyone a fair shot right now, because you could go out and price it out in Alchemica, and it's not going to cost you the same amount it would cost you to buy a godlike wearable. But this kind of reminds me of when nobody knew anything about wearables. They were really cheap. Like I was buying wizard staffs for like 5 ghosts. So, and it was like that for months before people realized that wearables are going to have a bigger utility. And then that's when things started getting priced in a little bit more. This is what these land items kind of remind me of right now. Is like we don't really know what these are going to do or how far we can take them, or even what they're, like you're saying, someone is saying the real utility. We have no idea. So like they're going to be really cheap right now. So maybe this might be like your opportunity to get your one godlike item. If you just price it out in Alchemica, I'm sure it's like not that bad.
Will the spillover on like the harvesters and your, reservoirs be turned off as well when they're released?
Spillover for harvesters. Yeah, I think we're basically up against the clock for that. We would prefer to have spillover live for that. So that's why we are spending quite a bit of time thinking about some ways to for a longer term kind of prevent the invasion of the bots with some sort of invite system. Just got to get the recipe right for it. We want to have a system that is trustless and isn't going to hurt the ecosystem, but actually enrich it, while also giving us more time to focus on the dev stuff rather than fighting bots all day.
I know this is something
So
for the future,
but
but
I would, yeah,
I'm
I would
really,
love to have spillover live for the harvesters. Definitely, I
yeah.
think that's kind of what we envision. But if it means filling the game with bots again, it's I don't know, definitely a tough call.
Yeah, fuck the bots. Like I said, I'll go in and kill them all.
Are we still thinking mid-July for harvesters, or is that near the end of July, maybe?
Yeah, we think everything is moving pretty smoothly. We just had our kind of a kickoff call internally. We have a new product manager for the Realm team. It's gonna help keep things even more organized than they were before. So that'll be really nice. Should be moving very smoothly. Starting we're gonna be starting the final leg of the sprint next week. Contracts are basically ready, but it's a lot of the front end work that needs to be finished up.
Yeah, it feels good to know you guys have finished up a lot of the realm contracts, because I feel like that's where a lot of the, a lot of the technical difficulties, technical challenges can come about when you're creating the smart contract.
Yeah, definitely got to be very careful and thoughtful. But the server side is also quite challenging, keeping these things running and purring smoothly while adding new features is pretty daunting as well. But we are managing it.
Have you guys thought about it again to have maybe like a private fundraising sale for just Pixelcraft?
We are more and more. I mean, we already had kind of a. I know you're probably talking more about the Dow, maybe the Dow side, but we
No.
are more and more just almost vehemently anti VC because it's especially in this industry they're awful. It's they're so, as we can see what's been happening recently with all the VC like unwinding. It's not really something we want to
It's
have to deal with.
It's predatory. I mean, it's, you see with Axie Infinity, they got all this VC money, and now they're basically facing their game just being wound down because they're pulling all their money out, and they got to this level where, they got so many daily active users that are just turning away now because they don't really have anything substantial to roll out, and they're kind of backpedaling on their initial promises because they don't have the money anymore. It got pulled out from under them, so that does happen. It's like almost predatory behavior. I could see why you guys are like apprehensive to that.
Well, that's a good thing for Aavegotchi. There's going to be a lot more actual people that want to come in and build, that they see the actual utility because they've been in the ecosystem. And I think a lot of people are going to run from these other ecosystems. That this crash is a good thing, I think, because it kind of shows the truth about all the shitheads in this space. And I've been talking shit to so many people over the years. I just think that there's just so much crap going on, it really turns people away. But if they have somewhere to turn to, like Aavegotchi, I think that that's going to be really, really help us. So.
Yeah, there's I'm seeing there's a little conversation about the bots here. We have some mechanisms for auto banning if it looks like someone is botting. There's some clicking behavior or basically behavior from their mouse or various things that'll get them auto banned. So I don't think we're currently doing a lot of banning right now. It's more the auto banning. So if you Lord Hills, if you know they are 100% legit, I mean we can unban them. But they probably got flagged by the auto ban system.
It's gonna be a huge ordeal if we can figure that out. You know, every game is played by this bots, especially MMORPGs. You know, historically, like even traditional space, gaming space, they've had to deal with this, and the incentive to do botting in a game with real money is even stronger. So if we can figure that out, I don't think there's any other game in like the play to earn slash crypto gaming space that's figured that out. So
No,
we'll
there's
be
no way to do it technically. It's
yeah
impossible to win with on a technical level. It
yeah
has to be done on a social level. This is what I mean. We kind of knew this, but it can be also done on a gameplay level, but the level of sophistication needed on the gameplay needs to be so advanced that a bot like can't replicate it, which is increasingly hard as bots are. It's getting easier to create bots and program them, and you can also like train them with AI now. So if there's a financial incentive, they'll figure it out. So really the only way to do it is on a social level. I don't know why you guys are ganging up on Zico. He does help with a lot of the botting in the game and helping with that, but he didn't ban this guy. So it's yeah, it's not cool.
like you said, we're in real early stages right now, so it's like growing pains, man. It's gonna I kind of expected that, but it's all right. We're gonna be around for a long time. I mean, how do you guys feel about botting and like the free to play? You know, once we're gonna have eventually a liquidator character, are you thinking more along the lines of social, like you're saying with that? You know, maybe there's some sort of an invite system implemented for that as well. I could see that being like another vector, right? Once we figure out gotchis, it's like liquidators is probably the next thing.
Yeah, it's all about just like the growth, and if we can figure out a system where we can grow the game kind of organically while also keeping the majority of bots out, then that can eventually be applied to liquidators.
Yeah, I mean, because the last thing we want is an army of bots coming up to the Citadel and just wrecking everything.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know if we'll have guilds forming around these liquidators. Interesting to see that. I think who is it? MSG13 has already stated they are a Gotchi and Liquidator coordination guild. So I think they've already expressed their interest in that.
That's cool.
Do we have any like big upcoming events in the Gotchiverse? I guess we got the raffle coming up pretty soon, right? Land raffle, an auction.
So the latest on that, there's quite a few Dow proposals that were going out recently. And last time I checked, there was one that wanted to delay. Oh, it's got 2 days left. But it does look hasn't actually met quorum yet. So if that one doesn't meet quorum, then we probably would just continue as normal. But the Dow needs to kind of make a decision on that, I think, as soon as possible, whether or not to delay the auction, because we did have that planned, but taking into consideration market conditions right now, might not be the best time to have an event like that. But either way, whatever the Dow prefers to do, we can roll with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it perfectly. Is like the market's going to do what it wants to do. You know, over time, the value of these assets is going to be realized eventually. So it's just a matter of people want to take advantage of that now or just wait and see what the land prices do later. But I'm looking at it like an opportunity. If it is the case, we'll get lower land prices. I'm not, I'm not personally looking at selling any land. I'm looking at buying more land. So I might get another spacious if the prices are low this time around. I think.
Yeah, I definitely, now that we know how estates are going to work, I mean, I definitely want to get some parcels even closer together to have a nice estate. It'd be nice to be able to get them all next to each other with the GBM.
Oh, that would be really cool.
Just an update on the bans here. Looks like those players were basically spamming emojis like far faster than humans should be able to. Maybe they were holding down the key or something. That's why they got banned. So any type of that behavior would potentially flag them. So they're probably human.
The thing is, we're going to get a few false positives here and there. So,
Yeah.
shit happens. But it's much better to be attacking the bots than not. And yeah, cop a few false positives. So I think it just comes with the territory,
Yeah, we've been getting false positives on banning. That's really what takes the most time is checking the false positives and seeing if they are real people. Not a super easy process to do right now. We need like a way to replay someone's like game movement in the game to watch them. That'd be pretty neat. Like a little, after a football game, you replay it. We don't have that right now.
ESPN bot highlights.
That'd be pretty sick, actually. Actually, it's a good time. We should go over some of the sick props here. So we obviously got the well, we can do more of that tomorrow, but just to give everyone on the Hangout a quick update. The token swap looks like that passed. Thanks, guys. We'll get that also made into a core prop ASAP. That's going to help a lot with making Pixelcraft even less like reliant on VCs. Now that we know the community has our back and it's going to help us pay fiat server costs and things. That's super awesome. So thanks to the community for that, and we'll get a core prop made for that next week. The other one is that also passed is where is it? Where was it? Gating estate size by altar level. This one, I didn't even vote on this one. It must have just like passed me by. I didn't even see it. But interesting proposal though. Gating estate size by altar level rather than lodge level. So we can maybe discuss that tomorrow and get the core prop out for that as well. Quite interesting.
Yeah, we had a little discussion in the Dow discussion around that. Potentially maybe adding more opportunity for smaller estates to be formed. I think that was kind of what that one was aiming for. But like you said, that one passed by me really quickly. I don't even know.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if I voted for that one yet. So I think it's closed now. So. And then do we have, I haven't looked yet, but do we have Mikey J's proposal for the new recipe for harvesters? Have they put that one up yet?
Yes. Yeah, there's actually 1 day left on that, so everyone go vote.
Yeah, so that's going to adjust the harvester recipes based on their modeling that they've been experimenting with. Really in-depth analysis.
Yeah, I don't see the vault has not voted on that yet, so it's currently 800,000 ghosts away from meeting quorum, so quite close. But it is only it's going to end June 20th at 4:20 a.m. Oh, that. Start date was June 13th, 2022, 9:04. End date is June 20th, 2022, 4:20 a.m.
I love it.
So yeah, there's definitely go and vote on that one if you haven't already, including the vault. Hopefully they will vote on it too. I'm sure they will.
Oh yeah, they won't miss.
One of the ones that I wish would have passed, but we'll probably take another run at it, is we're trying to form the ATF officially and get some of those friends that we've had staked for that allocation of Ghost, and maybe some glitter too, and use that as a part of prizes and stuff for the ATF to give out for hosting minigame events. The proposal was more in depth than that, addressing some of the things that ATF could do, which is the arcade task force. So we'll probably take another run at that one because I don't think the SIG prop passed quorum. I'm not sure if it's because people weren't aware of it, or I'm not really sure why, but I think it's going to be good for the ecosystem overall if we can actually get the official ATF formed. It's actually formed. We just need to get the acknowledgement from the community that it exists. Basically, we have all the multi-sig signers and everything.
What exactly? What is the responsibility, I guess, that this vote will endow them with?
Well, basically, they would have more control over that 100,000 Ghost allocation that they have for the arcade DAO, and actually be able to use some of that. Maybe, start by using some of those friends and staking like derivative for rewards, for minigame rewards, and then also there's a group of us that want to build out like a framework and a path to actually construct a minigame. I know Coyote had created a template earlier on, but to reiterate on that and to make it more accessible, and then also offer guidance for people who are building mini games, and then also be responsible for hosting the mini games and arranging the events. So that's kind of the idea of it.
It didn't reach quorum. Looks like the vault didn't vote, which is that because there was is that when there was an issue with Snapshot, and there was an issue voting that day?
The voting power.
The RPC issue that day.
Yeah, it could be it. That could be it. Because it did, from the community, the sentiment sounded really good about this happening. So I'm not sure why.
Hardcore's referencing it. We just dropped the ball on that one.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. I mean, we'll take another run at it then. I'll let those guys know, and we're trying to have a more official role in the Gotchiverse as far as mini game development, and maybe offering some guidance. I know Coyote is big brain, and he's offered his time and resources, so I appreciate that. And then we have some other really great devs that are building, like you said, building out some really cool mini games in the Gotchiverse right now.
That's cool. Yeah. I think I mean, I guess we could promote it to core prop. It didn't reach quorum, but there was if the vault simply forgot to vote on it or it wasn't able to, then we can include that in our batch going out next week. We have quite a few core props ready to go that we'll be putting out next week.
That would be appreciated. I mean, we can, just to make sure we're all on the same page, we can maybe gauge some sentiment about it tomorrow. And if everybody feels good about it, I feel confident, that a core prop would be accepted.
Yeah. Maybe they can try to increase their turnaround a little bit. Shouldn't have to wait till the last minute to vote on that kind of stuff. It's always a little nerve-wracking. Is the vault going to vote on this thing or not? I mean, obviously they represent delegated votes. So if the delegated votes have reached quorum, they should try to vote as soon as possible. Maybe that was the situation. It was just an issue with the RPC that day.
Yeah, by design, they always try to wait till the last opportunity, so that way it doesn't put a huge bias on the front end of the votes, and it purely just slips mind.
Yeah, I mean, maybe give it 48 hours if possible. because we never know when Snapshot's gonna go down. Or that day it was because gas was like 25,000 gwei on Matic, and there was just so much on-chain activity that the RPCs couldn't keep up. They were literally just they went down. The even the Morales RPC, which is supposed to be one of the most like robust, that's what Snapshot uses, and so that one went down, and they had to go and find another RPC to handle Snapshot. So that's why.
Celsius talks have been entertaining this week. Seeing this clip on Twitter with Peter Schiff was talking to the guy, Celsius CEO.
This week.
Yeah, good. He's just they keep. I don't know, man. This is just shows how desperate these larger organizations are getting now when they're in these places where they're propelled by greed and they didn't really look at the downside, and now all their bags are getting depleted and they're in these really tough spots, and it's kind of funny seeing them defend themselves because they got really no ground to stand on there. And this just comes to show that this stuff isn't DeFi, right? This is centralized finance. This is just like the old guard trying to put on a new coat and pretending to be something else, but they're not. Crypto has its ways of exposing that, and it's really, it sucks for people that got burned. I know there was a lot of retail investors that it's probably going to shape their view of crypto now, unfortunately. But the solution to all of this was just to start using DeFi in the first place and not get involved with any of this this other stuff trying to be what it's not, So, I think the Terra thing was a little bit different, but watching Celsius go down was like, well, maybe it's not necessarily a bad thing. Maybe this is a teaching point, for people to not leave your coins on a centralized exchange, and maybe there need to be more resources for learning how to engage with DeFi. Maybe you pick up this Aavegotchi thing and you start learning how to do DeFi now, because staking your coins on Celsius didn't work out for you.
I remember there was like a guy like 2 years ago. I knew he was like, man, I got my retirement fund in Celsius earning 8% a year, bro. It was like, I'm living the good life. I'm like, yeah, that's a scam. I don't know. It didn't seem real. Like, where are these yields coming from?
Yeah,
But
like in this Twitter clip, he's trying to explain how he's making 5% on Bitcoin, and it's like, well, Bitcoin doesn't actually yield anything. Like, it's not a business. You're doing something with that Bitcoin to generate a yield, and who knows what it is you're doing. So
yeah, the only the true yield generating platforms in this space are like lending applications like Aave and exchanges like Binance. And that's the majority of the yield that's generated, because there's trading activity. Whenever there's like a financial activity between makers and takers, you have a potential for yield generated, which is actually interesting. We didn't include it in Gotchi lending, but we could if we wanted to generate a little extra yield for Aavegotchi DAO. The DAO could take a small chunk of the upfront ghost, but I don't think it would be very significant unless we had a lot of Gotchi lending activity.
I could see that becoming a bigger deal when we have land and Gotchi lending both ways.
I think you make a really valid point, Dan. So many projects have been offering crazy percentages for no actual reason at all, and it comes down to actual functionality. What's being provided? Therefore, what business or what earnings are actually happening? So therefore, that can pay the actual staking percent or whatever it is. If there isn't anything, if there's no business behind it, then where's the money coming from? So you're just knitting a rug, and the rug's going to get pulled.
Even like someone says the Ethereum staking. They were paying those staking by ROI by printing Ethereum, right? if I'm not mistaken. The
Uh,
ST ETH with Lido Finance.
yeah, I don't really get that, but it doesn't sound because you can borrow
Really,
against
like,
those as well.
yeah, Lido was like when you stake your 32 ETH or whatever, it's locked onto the beacon chain. You can't unlock it. So Lido was like this middleman where they're allowing people to stake their ETH to earn like the ST ETH, which is like the staked ETH, and they're giving them a yield on that.
So are you
But
saying that they're like synthetically floating the yield until like actual validation kicks in with the merge?
I mean, I guess I don't know. Yeah, that's the yield is being generated on the beacon chain, I think, right?
It will be.
It will be. Yeah, it's like it doesn't exist yet, and you can also really easily get slashed. So that's why there's like this huge depeg between ETH and ST ETH, I think. I don't know that much about it.
They're not, you know, and to clear one clarification there is that they're not meant to be pegged, right? They are two different things. They're related, but they're not. It wasn't like built as a say like a stable coin peg, and so it was never held to the standard to be exactly
Right.
dollar for dollar. It's a lot like the wrap Bitcoin mechanism.
But the yield from staking your ETH is generated on the beacon chain, not on the main chain, right?
That is definitely my expectation for the Lido staked ETH. Yeah, that is ETH that's being set aside to be applied to the beacon chain in terms of validation for the after post merge. But for today's staked ETH yield, they've got to be using the raw ETH in a staked traditional DeFi position and feeding the yield that way is the expectation.
Yeah, it's a crazy world out there. Lots of interesting stuff happening for sure. I mean, Aavegotchi is super. We have our yield, and what I like about Aavegotchi, we kind of know where the yield is coming from. It comes from staking ghosts, earning friends, and then friends basically are a future earnings for some sort of future Aavegotchi asset. That's generally what it has been. Obviously, if you're minting wearables all day, that's not very sustainable. So, kind of the more facets we explore as a community in terms of NFTs, like the more opportunities for yield we have. There's limitless possibility with like aesthetic NFTs if we can just continue getting more people involved in the project. They want to own those NFTs. That's where the yield is generated from. So it is, at least we know where our yield comes from, which I think is a good first answer.
If you don't know where the yield is coming from, then you are the yield.
Yeah.
Hey, Bishop's following up here. I don't want to let him get ignored here. Hefe, you mentioned the land lending. He was just wondering if we could touch on that a little bit more on potential timeline or thoughts.
I mean, I have no idea, but maybe Dan might know.
I haven't thought about it that much because we are working on functionality for access rights, which currently we already have a little bit of that for letting borrowed gotchis come build on your land. Haven't really put too much thought into what land lending could look like. I mean, it could be the same exact thing as Aavegotchi lending, but what are some use cases you guys would be thinking about with lending out your land?
Well, I mean, I think it's going to become more relevant once you can actually build experiences on your land, and there's actually a real demand, a higher demand for land than there is supply. Because then you might want to, like for example, in Decentraland right now, if you have a really prime plot of land, you might want to rent it out to some organization, and they'll build on it, they'll maintain it, and they'll do whatever, and then you can capture a percentage of the yield. So that might be a later game strategy, but in the short term, I could see land that's not being used being lent out for farming or whatnot. But again, you know, I think we need more gotchis before we do that as well.
That's a good point from Tommy Gotchi too. Is the SDK will be a big motivator in land rentals once people start to be able to have experiences or opportunities for certain parcels.
Someone should start like a doc or something. What kind of things do you guys want to be able to do with the SDK? Because we are writing the specs for that actively right now.
I'll absorb that workload. We'll spin something up.
Yeah, the crazier the better. Let's get everything out there and then figure out what we can actually do.
I love that. The crazier, the better. Start with infinity and start cutting it back.
And so actually maybe there's a good demonstration case for Aavegotchi mentions too. So like the Gotchi vault is doing land lending of a sort, right? So kind of like depositing the Gotchis, you're now able to deposit parcels, and then other individuals that are inside of the Gotchi rental ecosystem can potentially channel on that land. And so there's a small yield that gets back to the land provider. And so it's not like one-on-one direct land lending as we're talking about like with Gotchi lending, but it's a good use case of how if I give my land to someone else, why it might be a good idea.
It would be more long-term, correct?
It's very passive and very long term in this particular structure. Yeah, definitely.
Well, guys, I gotta jump off here, but as always, great hangout, and hope you guys got some Alchemica and got a good bag.
Yeah, good meeting, good stuff.
We'll see everyone. We're gonna continue no Alchemica, but we will have our weekly Dow meeting tomorrow. It's gonna be great. Lots to talk about.
Yeah, take it easy, go today.
Yep. See you guys
Cool.
later.
Take
Yeah.
it easy, guys.
Later, Dan.
GM.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you guys probably want to go grab breakfast and start your days and whatnot. So thank you to all the 215 committed people, Gotchi Gang members coming to hang out on Saturday. We're doing the Dow Hangout tomorrow, 2 p.m. UTC. Same place right here in the Discord. We'll be talking about Dow related things. And, if you don't catch that, hang out with us on Gotchi Space Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. I don't have anything else for this week, but just keep an eye out for some announcements. And definitely check out the GMI Discord if you are a guild manager or are, involved with some higher operations of guilds. Definitely come check us out, and we'll hang out soon. So that's all I got.
Guild Lords.
Guild Lords, that's right. Yeah, Guild Lords. All right, fellas. Well, I hope you all have a good rest of your weekend and a good week next week. And we'll hang out again.
I'm gonna hang out here and bullshit a little bit too. Fosse, we'll work on those timelines for the GMI calls, man. 5 a.m. is a little early for you. We'll set up a special session for hours, guys. I don't want to miss the rest of the group, so we'll swing the hours around there. Staked ETH, I don't think there's a worry. Don't make fun of me, Van Lagen here. This I try what I do. Face, we are gonna move the call around and we'll be able to get you. I think Fosse sounds a little more little nicer. Either way, the staked ETH is not a bad play at all. You just got to watch your peg for it, but it was a good idea. As long as you believe in Ethereum and the merge for the long term, then you'll be in good shape there. It's not a terribly scary thing. They're playing the market. Don't let them steal your ETH.
Yeah, totally agree on that. ETH 2.0 staked. It's definitely not a bad way to go if you've got 32 ETH or multiples of that, or are able to use an aggregator to get there.
Come on, hardcore. Everyone's got a damn face PFP. I was set up. Y'all are tearing me up here. These tough names. It's an international community.
See you, everyone. Ciao. See you next week.
Later, fellas.
Peace.
Yo. Can you hear me? Is it VP?